As the succession plan comes into play for the Murdoch empire, my question looks at the lack of integrity and ethics that seem to be endemic within these corporate and political structures where power and greed seem to rule. How do we prevent the successors from thinking that this type of behaviour is acceptable?
I might start with you, Larissa.
I also watch Succession and they're all the same, so it doesn't matter that a different Murdoch is taking over. I think we need to, and we have campaigned for a long time at GetUp to address media ownership in this country. We're looking at 70% of Murdoch ownership right across this country. And it means that if you live in a regional and a remote area, then all you are hearing is misinformation. If you look at things like COVID, like the current debate around the referendum and how much these people are putting up people who are just spouting absolute nonsense, we actually need to have information that matters to people being accessible to them. And when we have corporate media capturing basically all the information in this country, it has a huge impact on our democracy.
And yet here we are on the ABC. We're on the ABC where we're all having an opportunity to give our opinion. And from my perspective, that's a reflection of the diversity of media.
There's not a diversity of media in Australia.
Of course there is. That's where we're sitting here, on the ABC.
Just because there's a public broadcaster, so you're ignoring all the ownership by Murdoch and what he has spouted and the types of things. Like, you look in this debate around the referendum and their unfair coverage of the way people are talking about misinformation, the things that they are saying about Aboriginal communities right now is completely untrue. And all of their hosts, look at the research.
If people want to watch the ABC, they can watch the ABC. If they want to watch Sky, they can watch Sky. But in regional areas,
not everybody has the ability to do that.
I think with the internet, the ABC, across the whole of Australia, the options are there.
Do you think in remote and regional areas people have access to the internet everywhere?
Well, I don't know about everywhere,
they don't.
But the ABC...
Well, you should know.
The ABC...
Well, I just want to go to Madeleine, because the question was about succession, particularly of the Murdochs. And I know there was a very interesting piece essentially saying that perhaps the wrong son was picked. There is a view that perhaps Lachlan's brother would have been a better option.
Well, you know
the idea of succession, idea of a family dominating.
We love a dynasty. We are a society that loves a dynasty. That's why we're still a monarchy, essentially. That we love the idea of there being a king or a queen who reigns supreme, and that idea of them holding onto the throne by controlling the succession. That, okay, then maybe the solution is don't buy into anything behind the paywall. If that's how we feel about it, then just stick with free media, and we have a free press, and that's how we've managed to get some really critical information across to the masses, that we will continue to invest in that idea because we love it.
But I also
we enjoy it. We like the drama.
The idea of a paywall is also really anti-democratic as well. Yeah. I think that the incredible impact that paywalls have had on investigative journalism, like globally, is really important.
Okay, but as perhaps the one person here actually works in commercial media, I can tell you, we would love it if the Australian taxpayer, but we love it if the Australian taxpayer gave us $1 billion a year to do whatever, but they don't. Without that paywall, it doesn't exist. And I can tell you, when Rupert Murdoch dies, a lot of these regional newspapers you criticise will shut down because they are only kept alive because he happens to love newspapers. They don't make any money.
Have you read them and the things that they say?
Yes, I have, but what I'm saying is they will disappear. But there won't be anything else that springs up.
You don't think Lachlan will keep them going?
No, he won't, because the fact is I don't think Lachlan's going to last all that long anyway.
Why not?
Well, because one is you shouldn't have dynastic succession in what is, after all, a public company owned by its shareholders. You know, the Murdoch's own, I think it's 39%, not 100%. That's point one. Point two, Rupert's been very good at holding it together, and he's done an amazing job, and he built that out of a single newspaper in Adelaide. But I don't know if Lachlan's got the ability to do it. But the bean counters will get in, and they will start shutting things down that don't make money. And I can tell you bring up a paywall. Without paywalls, there are no newspapers.
But I'm saying,
there aren't any.
Should all the paywalls be owned by the same family?
Well, okay. The thing, and I take issue with this whole idea about media concentration. The media's never been more diverse because of things like social media, because the fact that any one of you can start a YouTube channel or whatever. You never could do that prior to the invention of the technology we now have.
Saved by Twitter that's now owned by Elon Musk.
Well, all I'm saying is, you know what the hardest thing to do in media these days is to get people's attention because they've got so many things to look at. You try and get a 13, 14, 15-year-old to read a newspaper or watch free-to-air TV, they don't do it. And they'll probably never do it. In fact, our biggest worry, again, at the radio station I'm on, and we're owned by Channel 9, is, oh my God, how do we even get the next generation to look at the stuff that we produce? It's the other way around. They've got so many things to do.
Yeah,
look at every kid wandering around staring at their phone. A generation ago, that didn't exist. Now, it's not a solution for regional voices and all that, but I guarantee this. Rupert will be dead in a few years, anytime. He's 92. A lot of those newspapers will be shut down. Nothing will come up to replace them, and then you'll be sitting there saying, right, what do we do now?
Tony Abbott was nominated on the Fox board. Was that an early sign of the direction under Lachlan?
I think, Patricia, there's a deeper fundamental point here which Larissa was trying to sort of talk to earlier. I mean, I watch Succession as well, Larissa, and I've conflated the Murdoch and the Succession, the fiction with the reality. I don't really care. Everyone's sort of fixated on this Succession. But the deeper point is we have to have diversity in the media. We have to have a diversity of perspectives. We have to have a broad-based media because it's a fundamental tenet of a successful democracy. And we have one of the highest concentrations of media markets in the world. We're still fortunate in that we have the only one of 4 countries in the world that has a state-based independent media. And I'm biased. I used to work at SBS, so I think public broadcasting and investment in public broadcasting is absolutely critical to the functioning of our democracy. And to your point, Tom, about the so many platforms that people can use, this is part of the problem. The fracturing of the media, where, you know, people used to go to work on Monday.
It can't be concentrated and fractured. It can't be both.
Let me make the point. Where people used to go, you know, at the water fountain and talk about, you know, the news of the day, and they might disagree about what they saw. Now they're disagreeing on facts. And there's a complete fracturing of reality in many respects because anyone can put out a YouTube channel. So I think public broadcasting is absolutely critical to the functioning of the Australian democracy.
And what did you think of the Tony Abbott appointment? I asked that and you avoided it.
Well, I did a very good job of avoiding it.
You clearly didn't, because I've come back to
this
it.
is what this was made by Rupert. I don't know. Like, you know, he's on the board. I didn't even know about it.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, well,
good luck to him.
Are you happy for him?
Absolutely.
What does it say, though, about the direction of the company?
Well, I think it says they've chosen Tony Abbott, given his skills in terms of media, and he was involved in media, as we all know, before he went into politics, and he brings that perspective.
It has
Good luck
nothing to do with him being in politics. It's about you thinking that Conservative politicians being on your board, being elected, being in Parliament is actually going to serve the interests of Murdoch media.
Sorry, Larissa, it's not up to you or me to determine who should be serving on the board of that company. It's up to the shareholders themselves to determine that. And that's the way it should be.